then you're immediately like, well, so why didn't the lasers work on the door? And then the next scene, like, you see that, like, that whole mountaintop is gone.
But we're not hooking them up to a machine to...
We're not draining their life energy to keep the planet running. Yes. And Kirk's like, hold on a minute.
Yes, this is Kirk.
I either wait for the Federation or I send out a distress signal, and anybody who comes to this planet, I eat them. I eat them.
Riker had to be, like, over the top and cliche in his, like, actions for the casino.
Do you see it, Enterprise? Do you see it, Enterprise? Sorrow, cry for the children. First and last, first and last, first and last. Delicious.
All Sarek does is goes like this. And
Yeah, he knocks his hands away.
And then the Teller is like, ah! Kirk literally, he looks at him and he goes like this.
Program complete. Enter when ready.
Welcome back to another Retrek review, where each week we talk about Star Trek. And this week we're talking about episode 15 of season 3 of Star Trek The Next Generation. And that episode is entitled Yesterday's Enterprise. It originally aired February 19th, 1990. It was a teleplay by Ira Stephen Bear, who was a first-time writer for the show, Richard Manning and Hans Belmer. Both of those gentlemen were story editors from season 1 of Coming to Age to the Neutral Zone. Also, they did teleplay of The Arsenal of Freedom, Symbiosis, The Schizoid Man, The Emissary, Shades of Grey, and Who Watches the Watchers.
Nice.
And it was also a teleplay by Ronald D. Moore, who had also written The Bonding and The Defector. So that's pretty cool. Also, it was an uncredited teleplay by Michael Piller. It was a story by Trent Christopher Gaiano. He's a first-time writer for the series. I think first and last. I don't think he ever writes for it again.
First and last.
It was a spec script, so he was a person from the outside writing in. And then Eric A. Stillwell, who was a uncredited production assistant for seasons 1 and 2. And then in season 3, he became a pre-production associate. So he helped Trent write the story. And then it was directed by David Carson. David Carson previously directed the episode The Enemy. The synopsis for Yesterday's Enterprise is, while investigating a temporal rift, the Enterprise encounters a ghost from its own past, the USS Enterprise C, which travels 22 years into the future and changes the course of history. With the flow of history changed, Tasha Yar still lives, and the Federation is losing a decades-long war with the Klingon Empire. We had some guest appearances this week. We had Denise Crosby as Tasha Yar. We had Christopher McDonald as Richard Castillo. Christopher McDonald obviously has been in a lot of things, probably most famously Happy Gilmore, probably followed by
Happy Gilmore 2.
Happy Gilmore 2 and Flubber.
Oh, yeah.
And then Trisha O'Neill as Rachel Garrett, a character actor, surprisingly, just an actor, even though she played a captain of the Enterprise. And then Whoopi Goldberg as Guinan.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that is the introduction of our episode. But before we move on to supporters and subscribers of the podcast, let's go over to Caleb and ask Caleb, what did he think of the episode?
This is a good episode. I would even argue that it's a great episode. My overarching is a 3, a CUDA.
It was fast and it was inexpensive, and that's how you make Star Trek.
It's like top tier, baby.
3 CUDAs.
There's a lot of cool stuff in it. They do a lot of things really well. The writing is good. It's a cool way to do time travel that I haven't really seen, that I can remember if I've seen this style of time travel. Yeah, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I would say honestly, probably. I mean, a little bit of Back to the Future with them like fading away, kind of like the other timeline is messing with this timeline,
Yeah.
and like butterfly effect, where it's like
Mm.
something changes and then the current timeline changes. But it is kind of a rare thing to have it be so immediate and so like not referenced.
Yeah, the ship coming out of the wormhole and then immediately turning back, and it's like, okay, so this is the same Enterprise, but it's different timeline now. Like I thought that was really cool. Like it just like to immediately cut and be like, you're like trying to figure out like, is this the other ship? Is this the other Enterprise like Picard timeline? You're like,
Yeah.
no, it's the same, but like, yeah, yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, it's a interesting thing, and when you look at it as like official record, it's literally they see a rift. Worf says that he thought a ship was coming out, but it didn't come out, and the rift closes, and Guinan makes a comment that it's strange, and it's like that's the
Yeah,
official record of like what happened.
yeah, moving forward too. Yeah,
Moving forward, right? Yeah,
yeah.
so pretty
I
cool.
like that she knew too. Like when she saw the wormhole, she was like, "Oh no!" And then that was your clue that something was bad.
Something was about to happen. Yeah.
Something was afoot.
Oh, very good. It'll be fun to dive into that. But before we do that, we get into the review. Let's first, right off the bat, and we thank Ed, Mark Starr, and Captain Alimar for their Patreon support. We appreciate those guys being patrons of the podcast. And we thank Ed, Mark Starr, and Captain Alimar for their Patreon support. We appreciate those guys being patrons of the podcast. We're grateful for them. And we specifically thank Ed Markstar for listening to the wisdom of his friends who have interesting insight into matters and perhaps having to make hard decisions. And we appreciate Captain Olimar for trying to keep things together when everything's falling apart. We appreciate those guys. And as a privilege of being Patreon supporters, they get their comments read on the podcast. So, Ed Markstar leaves us a review of Deja Q.
Nice.
He says, repeat after me. Teamwork makes the dream work. Imagine multiple starships answering the call for help as Brielle 4 faces total destruction. 3 or 4 starships synchronize the harmonics of their tractor beams to tug the runaway moon into a new trajectory that spares the planet. We could even have planetary services, space tugs, employed to guide the rogue moon into a new stable orbit, building on the efforts of the starships.
A lot of Starfleet feels like space tugs, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. It's funny. He always advocates for, like, I don't know, maybe make the Federation a bigger thing than just one ship. Yeah.
But we're watching the Enterprise. It is funny that as soon as he says he always comes in with these brilliant things that like even we didn't talk about in the episode.
Right.
And it was like, hey, what if you just had more Federation ships? Like, oh yeah, that'd probably work.
Yeah. I think the reason why you and I don't like actively think about it too much is like in Enterprise, they're the only ship out there. So them doing it by themselves is like, whatever. Like they have to do it by themselves. And even in Kirk's timeline, it's like, well, there's more ships, but there's not a lot of them, and they're purposely like exploring the far reaches of the galaxy. They're going where no man has gone before. And it's like, okay.
Right. Yeah,
but
there's nothing close by.
But for whatever reason, there's just a thing about TNG that you're like, so it's just the Enterprise out there? Like,
yeah.
Well, he goes on to expand upon it. He says, yet another opportunity to show the expanded services available when an intergalactic call for help goes out. Only the Enterprise responds to Brielle 4, because this is all just a setup to the appearance of Q. This opening scene doesn't really matter.
Yep. No, it doesn't.
Yeah. Ever since Q made his first appearance on TNG, there was pressure for an episode where Q loses his powers. Kudos
And his
to
clothes.
And
Yeah.
kudos to the production team for resisting that pressure until season 3. Q episodes are not my favorite, but even I can see the fun cast and crew had making Deja Q. John Delancey delivered his lines with that extra splash of feeling, especially in his bridge scenes.
Mm-hmm.
When instructed to, quote unquote, ham it up, John Delancey never disappoints.
Yeah, he's good.
Yeah, both honestly, him appearing and being in the clothes, and him going back and forth with Worf and Picard, and then later with the mariachi band and all that. It's pretty good.
It's fun to know that Ed is also not like a super big fan of like Q episodes.
Yeah,
So I don't always feel alone. I'm coming around on Q, but yeah.
yeah. This episode definitely helps patch the relation of the first 2 episodes.
Yeah, it does.
There were moments in this episode that had too many plot details up in the air at the same time. Brielle 4 plus Q plus third-party aliens seeking revenge plus Data's injuries equal too much.
Too many. Yeah, I can see
He's,
that.
he says, but the good moments of this episode outshine my issues, to which I will give Deja Q a great big 2 akudas.
Nice.
Look at that. He came through.
Deja 2.
Deja 2. So he says John Delancey earned a popcorn award. And so since we're not
Mhm.
doing Hailing Frequencies at the moment, he says his performance put a smile even on my face. So Caleb, who does get the popcorn award for Deja Q for being the best actor of the episode?
I think he's right. Yeah. I think John Delancey gets it. He genuinely acted like a powerful being who is now human and how awful it would be to be like tired and his back hurts and
Yeah.
yeah, it was very good.
I listened to him once in an interview too, and he just he likes to play around with the script and like play around with how he's gonna say it and stuff. So he kind of added like an interesting tempo to the show because they were very not the actors by actors' choice, but the production staff and like the writing staff were very. They call it dead letter perfect, which means you can't go from the script. You get if it's a comma there or a period here, or you say it is or a, it's like that's what you have to say. You say what it says on the paper.
Yeah.
So
And I remember you saying that.
yeah, very good. Yeah, I totally understand his issues, and I agree. Like Star Trek in general could be much more cooler. It's a thing where they write down what do you call it? They dumb down the episode so that production staff can make it in like 6 days.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's like we don't have 7 ships to film and all this stuff. Nowadays,
That's true.
they would just use computers and get away with it, which is why
Yeah.
Strange New Worlds and the new stuff has like tons of ships always and tons of stuff going on. It's like yeah, because they have the model on the computer and can make it do whatever.
Yeah. That's
Very
pretty good.
Yeah. Appreciate that review, Ed. Thank you for that. And we also have a review from Captain Alimar. He gave us a review of The Defector. He says, tell me about the Romulan bases along the neutral zone, says Riker. And Admiral Jirok says, irrelevant. And then Riker says, the number of troops under your admiral's command. And Jirok says, irrelevant. Irrelevant. Another week, another Retrek review. Thanks, Will, for saying that I really changed your perspective on the show you're doing. Time for my book review. I really like the opening of this episode. Will I Am shakes men, sure can write. It's like the opposite of second screen content. You must watch and listen very closely at all times to understand what the frick he's saying. I like it. Then he says, Othello is my favorite, though. So he gives us a Shakespearean. So he's not he doesn't just make fun of it. He likes it. He goes, wait, this is a Star Trek review. On to space. Data looks silly in his Friar Tuck outfit, and it's nice to get some levity in before everything becomes dangerous. Caleb catches the fire, doesn't freeze frame, really takes you out of the episode.
Yep.
Also, why can't the holodeck just put clothes on you? Everyone just keeps their fancy outfits in their own rooms, I guess. 0 out of 10.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I don't disagree. Will makes another great point that Picard is all like, please record this very important moment for all time. And Data is like, yes, sir. Is that all? Very robotic. Also, Starfleet is just useless. They are like, well, this is crazy and may cause a war. Best we can do is yellow alert and stuff you already know. The Enterprise is the only ship in the galaxy again.
That's true. Hey, what
Yeah,
do you want Starfleet to do? I'm still under the impression that Starfleet is mostly controlled by the skitterbugs still at this point. So
yeah. I think what we're just led to believe is that the Skitterbug just killed like literally
all the
everyone.
main people that did anything.
Yeah. It also like, that we so far haven't really seen it where like there's a big delay to talk to people, and then this episode's like, no, it's 2 hours to talk to that guy. You're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, usually Picard just talks to everybody.
Right.
Well, we need this to not be resolved quickly. What do we do? Like, well, make it be like 2 hours between transmissions.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Like, well, Picard's got to make a decision himself, so yeah. Data stares like a crazy person. He also states their knowledge of Romulans is quite limited, yet they have a perfect replica of their planet. How hard could it be to get a sample of one ale that people drink? Cuban cigars famously could not be gotten in the US, which is the real world counterpart. Nice scene making Jirac look sympathetic.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah, Romulan ale is totally Cuban cigars, like 100%. Pretty
It's
funny.
illegal.
Illegal. Picard and Jiroc's scene together is the best. His explanation about why he is doing what he is doing is very good. Being a father changed his views, and he wants to move the universe for her. Understandable. Picard stands firm and demands unequivocal cooperation, and he gets it. Great stuff. Yeah, it's probably honestly. I always think of like, episodes past and episodes coming forward. I'm always like, oh man, this scene is great, or this episode's great, or this little bit is great. And sometimes I forget episodes and scenes like this where it's like these two guys go back and forth in the ready room, and it's like this is kind of awesome for Star Trek. So happy for it.
Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. Little Bighorn reference. Tomalak showing up sure is fun. Nice to have recurring characters like that. Really rewards the fans. Another great scene between them on the view screen. Picard quoting that shakes men again. So good. Yeah. I also appreciate them being much more referential to episodes they've already done in Next Gen. It makes the world feel more alive.
Yeah. Interesting concept to make it be like a real thing, you know?
Yep. The stuff with the Klingons is very subtle, and you could easily miss it if you're not paying attention, which is the point. So, no shade to Caleb for not knowing why they showed up at the end. It makes
Mm,
for a more exciting ending with the cavalry showing up just in time. Yeah, agreed.
yeah, I did like that.
Now the ending with Jirok. I'll just start with self-harm is never the answer, even in Jirok's situation. This is fiction, though, and in this fiction, his death has a purpose to show how despicable the Romulan Empire is and how far it will push even its own people to achieve its own diabolical ends. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah, this is just a story. Like, you could just write it easily and everybody's sad and shocked by it, but in real life, it's a completely different beast. So,
Yeah.
then he concludes the episode was really improved with the quote unquote fake traitor plot being inserted. The original plot would have worked better in original series Star Trek, but we need a bit more intrigue with Romulans in New Trek, which is funny that he calls it New Trek.
New track, who
You
does, yeah.
remember that OG plot where they were like gonna go to wherever it was and like fight all the Romulan ships and blow them all
Mm,
up and save everybody because like Jirok wasn't lying. It was really a war was about to start and the Enterprise was supposed to save everybody and then get word that, hey, don't cross into the neutral zone. And it's like, we already did and we saved everybody.
yeah.
And so he's like, and I agree with him. That's way more TOS than TNG. So.
Yeah, it's true.
Then he says, great episode this week. 3 Akutas. Amazing.
Oh.
So he also gives us a popcorn award. So he says, popcorn award to Patrick Stewart, Picard. 2 back-to-back good speeches. Yeah, so Captain Imar puts in for Patrick Stewart being the Thing, and in one of our earlier videos, Caleb already picked the best actor of the episode, and he picked James Sloyan, Admiral Jirok. So that has happened. But thank you for your options. Thank you for your comments. Thank you for your reviews. It helps Caleb and I feel connected and helps us think about things in a different light. And it also helps us, when we go to review things, keep your guys' thoughts in our minds and expand upon things. So we appreciate that. We also appreciate all of you subscribers out there. We saw that there's a couple more on the channel, so we thank you for it. Appreciate it. And without any further ado, let's get straight into the review. So we open up with Worf and Guinan and 10 forward.
Yep. Drinking juice.
Yeah, she gives him prune juice. And he drinks it and he says, "A warrior's drink."
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
That's how bitter and disgusting prune
juice
so. Is.
I guess so. I don't know. I didn't see it in trivia like why they picked that specifically. But yeah. So here's the funny thing. He's a Klingon who grew up as like a little kid eating like squid, like raw stuff, like raw food, like squid and eggs and just pig's feet and spines and
delicious
blood pudding and all this stuff, right? It's like, okay. And then he's raised by Earth people. So they're giving him hot dogs and hamburgers and it's chicken tenders, right? Which is the same
slop he's been eating,
right. And so I was just thinking, like, they give him prune juice, and I'm like, I've had prune juice before. It's like it's not like Limburger cheese where it's like, oh well, yeah, not that many people like it. It's like prune juice isn't really that terrible. I like it a lot. I'm not saying that I like the scene a lot because Michael Dorn is great in the scene.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why, we understand why it's played up so much is because, like, Worf isn't really in the episode, right? And you're also, like, kind of erasing Worf in the episode so that Tasha can come back and take that role. So it's like, I get it. But then Guinan tells him that he should...
you should hook up with people like Riker does.
Pretty much. And he's like, no, I don't want to hurt them. And she's like, pretty sure there's people on the ship that would run circles around you, and he's like, impossible. Yeah, it's
a weird conversation, but yeah,
it is a weird conversation. So we see this spinning thing out in space. They go to the bridge. They say it's gravimetric fluctuations and some sort of time displacement. Their scans are saying it's there and yet not there at the same time. Worf remarks that a ship's coming through. Picard turns to look, and we get a shoo. And now Picard turns back to talk to Worf, but what? It's not Worf.
Whoa.
It's Tasha Yar.
It's a Playboy model.
Yeah, and they're wearing interesting little white belts, and their collars are a little bit higher. They're a little bit more thicker and like higher up. Yeah,
I like the belts. I like the collars. Pretty good.
So they talk about reporting to overhead. You hear on the thing, it says the computer tells them to report to the main war room. So that's like already a hint of things that are not great. But Guinan knows things are not right. And then our weird Enterprise scans the ship coming through, and it's the Enterprise. But this time it's NCC 1701C. Oh! So this is where I shoot it to you. So we've seen Enterprise with Archer, NX-01.
Yep.
We've seen Pike in the chair.
Yeah.
For 1701, right? We know from the animated series that Robert April also was a captain of the Enterprise, the first one of the 1701. And then Kirk gets
Before Pike, right?
Before Pike, yeah. And then Kirk gets it. And then Kirk destroys it in your favorite movie.
Blows it up.
And then they eventually bring it back, and they have Enterprise A, 1701A.
Oh, yeah.
And the movies end with them being on the A. And then we jump in this Next Generation, and it's the D. And it's like, well, where's the B and C? We don't see B and C.
Yeah.
So here's your view into the sea.
Beautiful.
So give the folks out there your general thoughts before we get into the musical intro.
I mean I get confused with the naming convention of the Enterprise, but it's starting to make more sense to me. So it was cool to see the sea. I don't remember ever like really hearing about history. Like even well, I mean maybe Enterprise mentioned stuff, but I wouldn't have really been paying too much attention to that kind of stuff then about like past ships. But I think that it's a cool concept that, the sea is supposed to be destroyed, saving Klingon stuff, and that shapes the history. It's also fun that like the history legitimately is like they go into the past and they come back.
Yeah.
Like that's what happens to them. So I like that.
Well, they go into the future. You're talking about the
Ooh,
sea.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, the sea goes into the future. That's canon for like our timeline. So like
Yep.
the timeline is canon. Yeah.
So basically, what you would assume is like the thing we talked about at the beginning, where Worf was like, "Oh, I thought a ship was coming through, but I guess it was nothing." The same would be happening is like Narendra 3 defending the outpost, and then the Romulans would just be like, "Oh, this Enterprise is going into this rift," and then it's coming back out of the rift, and then the battle continues.
Yeah, in the blink of an eye, basically.
Right.
It's cool. So, do we ever see the bee or hear about the bee or
We do learn about the bee. Yes.
and then
It doesn't stay hidden.
that's good. So, in the current timeline, it's presumed by Starfleet that the sea was like just disappeared or lost on that like mission to protect the
Yes.
outpost.
Yep. It was recorded that, you know, around 20 years ago that the Enterprise C was destroyed.
Okay, that's cool.
And then you kind of learn too that like in that time, like there's a big gap where there's no Enterprise. Because then Picard takes the next Enterprise. So it's like there's probably at least a decade plus with no
Well, they
flight.
were probably building it at the time period, right?
Right,
Because it's
right.
such a big, it's like their first, like whatever they call it, Constitution class, where it's
Galaxy class is the Enterprise D.
so they probably were just connecting the saucer at the
Right.
space dock.
Yeah, we can probably let me look here. So yeah, it was destroyed in 2344, which is like 60 years after I think Star Trek 6. And then yeah, I don't know if they go and say what year the Enterprise D was being built, but it was launched in 2363. Well, yeah, pretty much like 19 years. I think 19 years between the two
That's
ships.
interesting.
So between it being destroyed and it being launched, it's 19 years. And obviously, like you said, somewhere in there, they're working on the Galaxy class, which it probably took years to do. So, yeah, just interesting. I remember when we talked about it that you were looking forward to seeing TOS folks. You don't get that in this episode. So,
No, but I
yeah.
didn't really think we would.
Fair enough.
They're saving that for the theatrical release, I'm sure.
Maybe. I mean, Bones showed up, so you never know.
Yeah, I was excited, honestly, though, to see the uniforms again.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool.
Yeah, I think they do a good job with everything overall. But like the appearance of the new Enterprise. Because, nerds out there are like, whoa, a new Enterprise model. So it's just like immediately they eat it up. So,
Yeah. And if this was Disney, they'd be like a new model kit like the next weekend.
anyways. So, yeah, we watched the musical intro. We come back. Picard gives a military log and gives a combat date instead of captain's log and star date, which was cool.
Yeah.
They talk about that the Enterprise C was missing from Narendra 3 20 years ago, and that the rift thing is very similar to a thing called a Kerr loop, which I don't think is a real thing. I think it's a Star Trek thing. There's probably some guy or girl named Kerr that they used it for. I think it's supposed to be like high yield particles interacting with like super string stuff, but I don't think it's real.
Nice.
This time stuff isn't real. They beam over to the ship. There's massive casualties, whole bunch of dead people. They meet Captain Garrett. They talk about that the Enterprise C was under attack from Romulan warships, and that the current Enterprise D is in trouble because Klingon battlecruisers are on their way. And then the captain is alive. And they bring her over to the D. They find Lieutenant Castillo. They bring him over, and Riker has 9 hours to get that ship up and running. Otherwise, Picard's going to, what is it, scuttle? Is that the word? He's going to like basically blow up the ship and
Blow it up, yeah.
yeah. And then Guinan comes to the bridge and tells Picard that things are not right. This is wrong. Not supposed to be this way.
Yeah.
So, two things for you. Did you enjoy it being like almost a derelict ship when they beam aboard?
Yeah, I did. I liked it being kind of destroyed looking.
Yeah, I thought it when we were watching it. I was thinking like, okay, it's kind of TOS stuff, and it's also like kind of a derelict. That was
Yeah, I liked when he climbs out from underneath the the panel.
all the rubble. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when they got over there, did you expect the captain and all of them to be alive, or did you just expect like dead people on the ship?
I kind of didn't really expect anybody to be alive, but
Nice.
I figured kind of want to have there to be like people from the past alive, you know? Yeah, there was a split moment where when he's like crawling out from the panel, the way his like hair looks in the uniform, it looked to me like it maybe looked a little bit like Captain Kirk, which I thought was interesting. I don't know if they did that like specifically like for the fans, you know?
Oh, maybe. I don't know.
But I thought it was interesting.
They might have been trying to tease somebody of like who's going to show up, but I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
It would have been a good opportunity to bring in legacy characters in this
I
episode, but you didn't need it.
Yeah, I think from like Star Trek Con, where Tuvok and Sulu are talking, I think that the Enterprise C is destroyed like 50 years later.
Okay. So they kept those uniforms for a long time.
Yep. Yeah. So I would assume most of the OG like people are probably dead, except for probably because Vulcans live a long time, so probably Spock was still alive.
Yeah.
And Bones, because we see Bones. Bones lives
Yeah.
for like another ridiculous long time.
Yeah, he seems to be like way older than you're led to believe in this timeline.
Yeah. So we come back from commercial break. We see that cool galaxy map behind Guinan with the Federation ships and the Klingon
With all the
ships.
Klingon stuff, yeah, that was cool.
Yeah. We learn on this Enterprise there are no children on it. This is a ship of war, not a ship of peace.
I really enjoyed this scene when she's like, this ship's supposed to have like families and children. And he's like, that's absolutely ridiculous. Why would we bring families onto a ship?
What's wrong with you? Yeah. It's an interesting scene because she's like trying to get him to understand like this isn't right and you need to send the ship back, and he's like, what?
Yeah.
Like, why would you even suggest such a thing? She's like, it just doesn't feel right. And he's like, well, I need more than it just doesn't feel good to you. And she's like, I can't give it to you. And he's like, well, this is ridiculous.
Yeah, I don't know what you want me to do about it. I'm supposed to be wearing blue and I'm wearing purple. I
Yeah.
was just talking to Worf, trying to get him laid, and now he's gone. Now we're at war with the Klingons.
Worf is a Klingon. A Klingon.
You're friends with a Klingon? Reka, have her executed. Like that's legitimately
Send her
how
out,
like that would
send her
have
out the door. She's a sympathist.
throw this one out the airlock. Yeah, that's funny. And you know what's funny is in a sense, Worf probably did get laid in this timeline.
Well, the interesting thing that they don't talk about in this episode that we can put together from the enemy and some other clues that we've had is that Worf's parents died in a Romulan attack.
Yep.
So
Anymore.
if there's ongoing battles nonstop, he probably died in the assault when his parents died, when the Romulans came.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah.
Maybe the Romulans didn't attack the Klingon outpost because they were busy dealing with humans at this timeline.
Could be that too. And now he's just fully in the Klingon Empire doing his own thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was hoping
Oh,
to see him. I was hoping, I mean, I knew it wasn't going to happen, but like, I thought it would have been nice to have like him and Tasha be together or share a scene, you know? And obviously, like, I know that like that can't happen in this timeline, but it would have been fun if he was like the captain of a Klingon ship that was coming in at the end.
yeah. The thing I was thinking, if it was a two-parter, you probably the Klingon ship that shows up and shoots at the Enterprise C. They could have maybe captured that captain and it be Worf, and then like Tasha interrogates him.
Yeah, it would have been fun. I think that's a missed opportunity. If there's a missed opportunity in this episode, I think that's it. Just having Worf be like a Klingon captain coming in to destroy them, I think that's such a fun idea, you know?
Yeah, I don't disagree. I think the writers are under the idea that the Romulans killed Worf, like when he was a child. I think
Yeah,
that's where they're writing to, but yeah.
that's fine. But I mean, even as like a fan of the Mir stuff, that stuff doesn't make any sense.
Sure. Sure.
It's like, you know, like, oh, we have to have all these characters because these are the characters, but it's like, yeah, but they wouldn't probably be alive, right? You
Right,
know?
right. Yeah. So we cut to the sick bay, and when the doors open, we get a TOS door sound effect.
Yeah.
It makes a different sound effect, so that's nice.
Yeah, they never had time to upgrade any of that stuff.
Well, yeah, so while we're in the sick bay, we hear Dr. Solar mentioned overhead, which was a fun reference
Yep.
to Data's grandpa there.
Yeah.
We learned from Captain Garrett that they were answering a distress call from a Klingon outpost, and when they got there, the Romulans were attacking that outpost. But there's a cool bit in between those two things where Picard sits down and tells Captain Garrett that, like, she's 22 years into the future.
Yeah.
She's like, "Oh, okay."
It's a very funny thing to tell somebody from the Enterprise that they've been saved by the Enterprise.
Yeah, oh yeah, totally. I mean, at least 22 years isn't like, I mean, even in like our lives, if we were to go back 22 years and talk to ourselves or to somebody else, it's like enough has happened and enough weird things and like technology has changed pretty significantly. But it's not like, well, it's 100 years in the future. You're like, oh my.
It's not the people that were frozen and came back on the
Yes,
Enterprise, you know. It's not
exactly.
like that. It's
Right. So they at least have a chance to like integrate into
yeah.
new society, right?
The idea of like starships and being out in space is totally the same and normal
Right,
to them.
right,
So they're just at war now.
right.
But we were talking to the Klingons about peace.
Yeah, exactly. She brings up that they were working, or no, Castillo brings up that they were
Yeah.
working on a peace treaty. Now, the interesting thing
But
is,
Cook killed the assassin.
exactly. So, we learned that, man, it's got to be like 60 years earlier, somewhere in there, 50 years earlier, they made a peace treaty with the Klingons over Praxis. In that movie, we learned that that's when they wrote a peace treaty based off of that, because basically Starfleet officers protected the Chancellor and like revealed this like conspiracy to kill and keep the war going.
Yeah. Where have we seen that before?
Yeah, right. But then 50 years later, they're working on another peace treaty. So, obviously things can change in 50 years and obviously tensions can rise again and blah, blah, blah. But
Hmm.
just interesting that there's so far two peace treaties in the works.
Well, with the Klingons, there's always going to be peace treaties. Yeah, because in Picard's actual timeline, it's everything's like fine. So they get there at some point for their shared hatred of the Romulans.
Exactly. So basically, what we learn is because they're taking on four Romulan warbirds, and they're the only ship there, and Guinan suggests sending them back through the rift. That is ridiculous because sending them back is just a death sentence. You just
Yeah.
sending these people to go and die. So,
Yeah, well, maybe they're supposed to.
and that's
You
what
think
you
about that,
pose. You
you
pose
fool.
maybe that they should go back and die.
I think Picard gets to that point too.
Maybe it's Data that offers that suggestion, right? Where he says, like, because the Klingons view like honor and dying, and it's like if humans died for a Klingon outpost, like it would go like very far into keeping them like
Yeah.
friends, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, this is the halfway point, so go down to the comment section and write Armis is not amused. So we come back from our commercial break. We learned that Captain Garrett is no different than any of other Starfleet captains with doctors. They hate listening to
Yeah.
doctors. How
Mhm.
dare you suggest that I stay in bed?
It's nice to see that Beverly in this timeline is also very pushy and controlling. That's good. That makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah, in a war-torn galaxy, she totally wouldn't be more accommodating that. Like, yeah, you're gonna have to get up with a
Yeah.
broken leg. 'Cause, like,
No, yeah, you would definitely keep babying patients
Right.
in war.
Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Ridiculous. Peacemakers.
Peacemakers. Yeah.
I get it for the plot. It makes
Yes.
sense. And I
Yes.
enjoy that they do it, but I really don't enjoy seeing Riker and Picard at odds with each other, you know?
Yeah. They basically reveal. We learn through dialogue that like Picard and Riker are not friends, not like they are in the original
No,
timeline.
I know, and it's sad, but like I get it in this environment, you know.
Yeah.
Also, I think in this timeline, here's the thing, though,
Tell me
because
about.
this is what we say. Like you say, like, well, you can't do that because it's a different timeline. It's like, yeah, well, don't waste my time with that crap. Because here's here's a reason for you right here. In this timeline, if Riker and Picard are not friends, then Riker would not be on the Enterprise. He would be a captain of a different ship.
True.
So suck on that. But you
True.
got to have him on the Enterprise because he's a main cast member.
Do you?
Yeah.
Because Worf isn't
Yeah.
on it. Worf isn't
Well,
there. And somebody else isn't there either.
oh, Deanna
Deanna's not in it.
and Colin Meaney.
Yep. Maybe Riker and O'Brien are on their own ship.
That's
Interesting.
true. I forgot. I forgot Deanna wasn't in this episode at all.
She's in it. She's in it. She's just not in.
She's in the beginning and the end. Yeah, she's not
Yeah.
in the future.
Yep.
Yeah, we don't need to know about feelings.
No. Pretty interesting. I don't disagree with you. That's a good point. That's a very, very good point. You could have maybe done what you said, which was like, Klingon ships are 9 hours away, and the whatever ship is on its way. It'll be here in 11 hours, and then and then you get a scene where Picard's in his ready room and he gets a communique from Captain Riker, and he's like, "We're on our way. We're trying." You know what I mean? Like, that he's just another captain, like, helping Picard out, and he's not on the ship. Yeah. And then you could make O'Brien Riker.
Yeah.
Just make him his first officer or something. Or make Tasha his first officer and put O'Brien at security or something. Yeah. We go back to Guinan, just can't explain it. She knows I don't know, something's not right. She says this timeline must not be allowed to continue, but I can't say why. And she has that weird moment with Yar and 10 Forward. I don't think they call it 10 Forward in this thing, they call it something else. But
Yeah.
and then oh man, he was a good actor in this thing, and he did a very good job. And I didn't dislike his character for most of the episode, but man, the bit where he learns that her name is Tasha, and he's like, "My first name's Richard, but my mother calls me Richard. Most people call me Castillo."
Yeah.
Like, okay, Castillo, and he's like, "You can call me Richard." Like, what? Like, that's weird, dude. That's really weird. It's a really
I'd like for you to call me Richard and tuck me in and read me a bedtime story.
Right. I'm all set. I'm all good.
No, call me it. Call me it now.
Say it to me.
Say it.
They bring up an interesting thing. They go to the ready room because now it's like Picard has to make this decision. He's decided to go with Guinan's recommendation of sending the ship back, even though everybody hates it. They all think it's a terrible idea. And then
Yep.
Geordi makes at least like, well, let's at least give them our future tech when they go into the past. And Picard's like, nope, that would alter the past. We can't do that.
Yeah, that is true.
And so, despite everybody's pushing against it, this is the thing that I have like an ever so slightly issue with is they don't show Picard reasoning on it to change his mind. Every time him and Guinan come together, he's like, "You have to give me something more than this," and she's like, "I can't." And he's like, "Well, then I'm not gonna change my mind. This is ridiculous what you're saying." And she's like, "All I can tell you is that this shouldn't be this way." And he's just like, "But that's not good enough. That's not good enough."
Mm.
And it keeps doing that every time they talk to each other. And then all of a sudden we have the scene in the ready room and he's just like, "Yep, so we're gonna send it back." And they're like, "That's a terrible idea." And he's like, "Eh, it doesn't matter." And they're like, "Yeah, but if you do that, you're gonna kill him." He's like, "Yeah, well, they have to die." And you're like, "Oh, okay." I just feel like they needed a scene where he's, maybe he gets a report. Like later in the episode, he tells Captain Garrett that like they're losing. So maybe like have him sit at his thing and get a thing from headquarters that like we're not gonna make it.
Yeah.
Like we're gonna lose. Like this is like we've just lost like 11 ships in this sector and the Klingons are still advancing and like Starfleet is running out of vessels and you're one of the last vessels out there, Picard, and like do the best you can, but we're gonna lose. Like, we don't see us getting out of this. And then he just feels like, well, there's no point for them to live in this world, like in this time period. Like, they're just going to die, like
Mm.
they're going to die. So let's turn them around and send them through. At least they got a better chance of something being different. Who knows? Like, I feel like that needed to be a
Yeah.
scene.
Yeah, because there's that scene where he basically tells the captain, like,
Right.
kind of what you're saying.
Right. Exactly. But
But
I
it's
think,
very like after the fact of him deciding.
and I think for the audience, we should have seen that, like at that private moment. And then later he tells Captain Garrett.
Yeah.
They all leave the room. Jordy makes the line that, like, if we're even alive in the other time period, and then the camera just holds on Tasha's face. Yeah. And then she goes into the turbo lift with Data. I thought it was interesting that the turbo lift waits for its occupants to
Yeah.
say where it's going.
Everybody in the turbo lift has to say where they're going before
Yep.
the lift moves.
Yeah.
That's a fun feature. Yeah.
That didn't happen to House at all when he got in the turbo lift, did it?
No, and you'll never see it again.
Yeah. And then Picard goes over and tells Captain Garrett what they're going to do. And this is where we learn what we just talked about. He recommends them going back. And she's like, this is like, that's crazy. You're going to kill us. You should at least come back with us. And he's like, I can't. And then she says, yeah, I suppose you're right. You don't belong in our time any more than we belong in yours. And then he hushly tells her that defeat is inevitable within a projected 6 months.
Yeah.
And she understands, and she steals herself and her crew. They're ready to go back. And right as they're ready to go back, and here we go, and Yar has an extra moment with Castillo, which is kind of an interesting beat because he tells her if you see a man in his 50s, like hard looking across, like, perhaps it's
Yeah.
me in the future because you never know. We might not
You
die in
never
this
know.
battle.
Yep. No, they're both dead.
And yeah.
Yeah, they were anyway, and then they team up at the end anyway. So like, yeah, they're definitely both dead.
No, it's certainly dead now. Yeah, and then the Enterprise C gets under attack from a Klingon bird of prey. Explosion, and we cut to Captain Garrett dead.
Yeah, that was kind of crazy.
It was kind of crazy. So we cut to commercial break. Castillo opts to be acting captain. He'll take over the role. Riker hates the idea. He hates that guy's going to be it. Picard knows that he basically has no choice, and he allows it to happen. But there's a cool shot, and I wrote it down, is Castillo's talking to him, his back is to the camera, and Picard's like across the room. And Picard like walks up to him to like tell him like, okay, like, yep, I agree that you're the captain. You're gonna send the rest of the crew who are alive like through the rift. But when he walks up, we get a very, very reminiscent like eye lighting, like TOS. There's like a band of
Mhm.
light like over Picard's eyes, and I was like, oh,
Yeah,
which I liked.
I like that too.
And then Yar and Castillo kiss, big smoochies.
Yeah.
And then Tasha goes and talks to Guinan, and Guinan isn't meant to know Tasha. So we made that discussion where apparently Guinan wasn't on the Enterprise in season 1.
Yeah, that's interesting to me.
It is. So somewhere in season 2, she shows up at some time.
Yeah. The first episode that she's in.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and Guinan tells Tasha that she had a death without purpose, which
Yeah, she
is
did.
we were talking about it, and that's what's kind of crazy is the fact that this show like literally comments on its own decision and then writes to it. And you had made a good point that usually like a different show or movie or book or comic or something, like that's the thing that expands this storyline and makes that a more interesting story. Star Trek Con, perfect example, right?
Yeah.
Let's give more life and context to the life of Khan on SETI Alpha 5. You're like, okay, cool. So that's what you would expect, like, this would be Star Trek Narendra 3 or whatever, or like Tasha Yar or something, and that's where they would expand the story. But instead they do it literally just like, I don't even know, 30 something episodes later, basically.
Yeah, it's interesting.
And then when she comes to the ready room to tell Picard that she wants to go over to the Enterprise C, I like Picard's reaction to it. He puts together pretty quick that Guinan told Tasha that she
Mhm.
dies. I like how he's just like, okay, cool. That's great
Yeah,
that she told you
why
that.
why would she find that precedent to tell you this? Yeah.
It's a little zim zam zoom
Yeah.
through the scene with these two, but it's not terrible. I don't hate the scene. It's just a little like they accelerated a little much to just get her over there.
Yeah.
He's just
Yeah, and it's like what does he care, you know?
Yeah, to me, he's just like a little too defeated and a little too like, I don't really care that like my tactical officer is like leaving. They just don't give us good rationale for why Picard changes. So I get that like he's putting all of his
Yeah.
trust and all of his eggs in one basket with Guinan. But like, we as an audience like don't understand their friendship, and also like he's a different Picard. It's like you needed more with him and her and his decision making.
Yeah, he swings around pretty quickly.
Yeah,
Especially because he like yells
right, exactly.
in that one scene like pretty good about it, you know, and then he's like, all right, yeah, let's do it.
So I'm gonna opt.
Is this our
I'm gonna opt for our whatever Jonathan Beckett, whatever we'll call it, Samuel Archer.
yeah.
Or that's what I'm gonna say right here. Bing. I'm gonna opt that this was what this writing was.
I think so. Yeah.
I also want to say, I'll put earlier too, a warrior's drink is very much delicious.
Yeah, we can give that too, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, and so they have this scene in the ready room, and Picard grants Tasha permission to go aboard, and she does. So I would say it's time to learn about this episode because we're gonna get into trivia.
Oh, not again. All right, now you're overacting.
So let me first just send you this picture to enjoy. Yeah, so just a fun picture of them two, like off while the cameras aren't rolling. Just a fun behind the scenes picture of them.
That's cool.
Yeah. So trivia says the original idea for yesterday's Enterprise was generated by Trent Christopher Gaino and submitted to Paramount on April 15th, 1989. So almost a full year after before it was aired. As a spec script submitted through the open submissions policy introduced by Michael Piller in that year. The document was logged in on May 2nd, so almost a month later, and was read by Richard Manning on May 24th, so like 3 weeks later. This original version featured the appearance of an Enterprise from the past in the TNG time period, and Picard having to face the resultant dilemma of whether to return the ship and its crew to their indigenous time period. In this version, the ship did not cause any changes in the future. Picard was forced to decide whether or not to reveal the crew's fate before sending them back. At this point, the captain of the past Enterprise was Richard Garrett, whose last name derived from a pizzeria in Gaino's hometown, San Jose. At the same time, following a conversation with Denise Crosby at a convention, Eric Stillwell developed a story along with Gaino that would allow Tasha Yar to return to the series after a 2-year absence. In this pitch, drawing from classic Star Trek episodes like The City on the Edge of Forever, The Savage Curtain, and Mirror Mirror, among others, a Vulcan science team would inadvertently cause the death of Serac, the founder of Vulcan philosophy, when a trip through the Guardian of Forever into Vulcan's ancient past goes wrong. As a result, the Vulcan people would never become the logical race that is known in the Star Trek universe. Instead, a Vulcan race more akin to the Romulan Star Empire would be engaged in war against the other powers of the galaxy, including the remnants of the Federation. As part of this alteration, Tasha Yar would be present among the crew of the Enterprise D. Ultimately, Ambassador Sarek, who was on board the Enterprise to greet the returning science team, would sacrifice himself by returning to the past and taking the place of Serac, thus restoring the correct timeline. Stillwell commented, "We thought it would be really cool that someone from the future would replace someone in the past, and I always thought it was funny that their names were so similar anyways." So it's kind of like the animated series episode where Spock goes into the past and becomes his uncle.
Oh, yeah.
It's kind of like that episode because they used the Guardian of Forever in that episode. So,
Mm-hmm.
so basically, what we're led to believe, Gaino writes this script of an Enterprise captained by Richard Garriott comes through this portal. Picard knows of their fate and has to decide whether or not to send them back. Then Eric Stillwell is at a convention and talking to Denise Crosby and is like, "I think we can get you back in this episode that I'm helping my friend write. That would be really cool. And we'll do this thing where we'll use the Guardian Forever and we'll have Serac killed. And then we'll alter it that way." Okay. So when Stillwell pitched this idea to Michael Piller suggested combining it with Gaino's Yesterday's Enterprise story, which had also developed a Tasha Yar element by this point, largely on the suggestion of Piller, who had also wanted to find a way of bringing the character back. So while Gaino and Stillwell retaining joint story credit.
That's cool.
The Vulcans were replaced by the Klingons, and the Serac plotline replaced with the idea that Yar would fill an absence on board the Enterprise C after the death of a female captain, Garrett. The finished storyline treatment was largely as broadcast, with the exception of Guinan's presence in the episode. In the completed pitch, an alien probe provided the crucial information about the timeline alteration, which, yeah, makes more sense to have Guinan do it. Some other minor plot points were lost between story and teleplay, including a Yar Data subplot that was dropped as Piller felt it was not the right arc for Yar's character.
Thank you.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
There was a moment where they were in the turbo lift that was
Yeah.
like, oh man, are they gonna insinuate that like they've had a relationship now in this timeline because of previous things, you know?
And they were like, nope.
Nope.
Yeah, this is probably a good place. Then I'll send you this. So from left to right, it's Eric Stillwell, Whoopi Goldberg, and then Trent Gaino. So those are all the...
Cool.
She writes, Whoopi Goldberg writes, "Hey, Eric, don't we look good? Stay wise or stay something?" Whoopi Goldberg.
Stay well. Stay
Something, yeah. Could be stay well. Yeah, could be stay well. Yeah. Pretty cool.
Whoopee.
So a face to the writers and another behind the scenes shot. So that's cool. Production on the episode was originally scheduled for January 1990 following the Christmas hiatus. However, with the introduction of Guinan into the episode, the filming schedule needed to be moved up in order to accommodate both Crosby and Whoopi Goldberg. As a result, the pitched storyline needed to be turned into a teleplay over the Thanksgiving weekend of 1989, prior to filming commencing on December 11th. 4 members of the writing staff, Ira Stephen Bear, Ronald D. Moore, Hans Belmer, and Richard Manning, divided the episode amongst themselves in order to get it completed on time. In particular, Moore was responsible for the Yar Castillo romance. Bear noted that although the writers were unhappy about the time scale pressure and having to work over a holiday, they enjoyed the chance to write an episode far darker that had been done in the past, with a great deal more tension, something many of the staff had felt was lacking in the series. Michael Piller added a final polish to the script, but agreed to be omitted from the credit to meet Writer Guild's rules, which allowed only 4 names. So, totally get it. I don't disagree, but I will admit, and I don't think you disagree here either. Ira Stephen Bear wanting things to be darker and more grittier is like obviously more compelling storytelling and also more interesting television. But again, I opt for that's not what Gene Roddenberry originally wanted. And we've had this discussion before, and I think the more hopeless Star Trek gets, that's what fans like. They always tout that, like, well, Gene Roddenberry's vision of the future of no racism, sexism, ageism, disabilities are not a thing. It doesn't matter what you are. It doesn't matter. As long as you're a good person, you're included and all this stuff. Like, great. But the thing is, it's like all the episodes that people like in the fandom, they're all the episodes where it's like horrible, brutal, nasty things happen to characters. People are dead. People are getting exploded. It's like they like all the violent, dark, gritty, like.
Yeah.
And to me, it's just like I would be really hard pressed for Star Trek fans who started in the '60s and go all the way through. Like, what do you like about Star Trek? You know?
Yeah, you need drama. I mean, you
Right, right. I mean, we saw what Gene Roddenberry wanted, which was the Enterprise crew have it all together. There's very little infighting, and every single alien that appears is a moron and evil and terrible, and they have to deal with it. Like that was his show. And that's fine.
I get a lot from like Ed's comments that he would enjoy it just being like a very like smart highbrow like science show
Yeah, a
than actually
procedural.
doing like
Yeah.
science stuff in space. And I think that's a really cool concept, but I think he's probably in the minority of that group. I think like for it to be a successful show, I think it has to have drama. It has to have like stakes. This episode, like when the captain and Riker both like die, I was like, holy crap, like didn't see that coming. Like that stuff is enjoyable.
Right,
That's
right.
that's what makes it like good. Like you're saying, like the dire needs of like,
Yeah.
just figuring things out or stuff. And the whole like Roddenberry's no conflict in space thing.
Right.
I am fine with like humans not having conflict because all of their needs are met. Like that I get. But like they're gonna still be at war with like aliens. There's
Right.
gonna be other aliens that don't like humans that are plotting for
Right.
their monetary systems are different. So like they're
Totally.
still based their society's still based on stuff. It's like there's gonna be wars in space. I hate to tell you.
Yeah.
Earth
I
may be
think
great, but
Yeah, I think honestly, I mean, I don't know. I'll just say a thing that's probably not favorited by people out there, but like it just shows like the degrading of morals from the 60s to now the 90s. That like it has to have death and be dark and it has to be violent and all this stuff. It's like, well, why? It's like, well, TV demanded it. Like the audience demanded more like darker things, and it's like because the world was getting worse and worse as time had carried on. So it's like it's just an interesting thing. I don't dislike it. I like Star Trek. A lot of the stuff that I like is very gritty and very dark and sad. I don't not saying I don't feel that way. It's just interesting when they always poise that like, well, this is Roddenberry, like Star Trek is Roddenberry's idea, and it's like really just the '60s show and like the first like movie is like really that's Roddenberry, and then after that it's like his hands in the pot, but he's not really controlling it.
yeah, we're done. We're done with Roddenberry.
Right. It's right, exactly.
It's interesting. It's interesting.
It is. It's just an interesting thing.
It's funny though because I don't enjoy that when it's like what they did to Indiana Jones, getting rid of like prominent characters and like moving on past like
Mm.
directors of the old, like I think that's been a thing the past couple of years is like, yeah, well we're done with these old directors, you know.
Yeah.
Let's make it fun and new and like crazy. And it's like that's I
Yeah.
don't know, just leave. Just make a new character.
Just
Just have
write
an
a,
original idea, you
just
know.
write a different movie. Yep, that's right.
It's funny, like when you talk about that, I'm like, yeah, I'm really against it. But when you talk about like this stuff, you're like, yeah, it's good that, you know, the people took over after Gene stopped like writing the show. Like it got a lot better
Yeah,
after Gene
yeah.
left. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just a different time period. In the 60s and the 70s, when Roddenberry and Lucas were writing their stuff and producing their stuff, it worked for that time period. But as the audience changed, like the franchise had to change. Like
Yeah.
unless you don't want it to be a thing, if you want it to just be a 60s, 70s thing, then cool. And that's just what it'll always be. You know, they didn't go back and rewrite like Sanford and Son and you know all these the Andy Griffith show, like they didn't go back and rewrite those. Well, why? It's like because they work back in those times.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
leave them
Yeah. Yeah.
alone. You don't got to do it.
Yeah. Because you can't, first of all, Opie is perfect.
Well, right. That's what I mean.
Yeah.
There's no reason to write a 2026 like Andy Griffith show where it's like a campy show on television with a sheriff and stuff. It's
It'd
like
be so bad.
right. It's like nobody would like it because it's like
Barney would actually be like a good cop.
right, exactly, right. Yeah. So the studio decided to increase the episode's budget, which at the time was estimated by Daily Variety as $1.2 million per episode.
Get out of here.
So with inflation, that's
Oh,
almost $3 million an episode today.
there's no way.
2.98 million today. And they say that roughly around $11 million an episode to film an episode of Strange New Worlds. Pretty crazy.
That's insane.
Yeah. So it's like over triple what it would have cost. Or it's like 10, I don't even, whatever the number is. Anyways, this gave the production departments more leeway. One reason for the increase was that yesterday's Enterprise would air during February sweeps, an important time for the studio to attract solid ratings. As The Next Generation was syndicated directly by the studio, the episode's performance would affect advertising revenue for the future. So back then, television shows used to be affected by things called the sweeps, where the Nielsen ratings would go out and they would basically, however the show did during this like 2 week stretch, they called them sweeps week. And that's if the show wasn't doing well in ratings, they would pull the plug and it wouldn't come back in the fall for a whatever season. So we see that a lot in a lot of shows, where suddenly, like in the middle of their season, usually around February, if you go back and look, all of a sudden it's like so and so's pregnant, so and so's dead, you know, so and so had a car accident. It's all these crazy.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
They're very soap opera-y.
Exactly. Given the unusually rushed nature of the script, the writing staff were skeptical that the episode would work. Stillwell recalled most of the writers were not very happy with the script. They thought it was going to be horrible because they don't like having to write something and make it work in 3 days, which I don't disagree. Ronald D. Moore noted, "We brought Denise back to kill off Tasha Yar a second time. It was a great opportunity to send the character off in a big heroic sacrifice because nobody was really happy with the way she left the series in the first season. Nobody on the show really liked it. The fans didn't like it. I'm not sure even she really liked it. So yesterday's Enterprise was a chance to kill her right."
It's a funny way of looking at it.
It certainly is. I think I'm about to tell you your favorite trivia of all time.
Good.
Time and budgetary constraints put an end to the much more gruesome cinematic battle sequence that was originally envisioned in the script. The only death to survive the broadcast episode is Riker's. Others that were written but unfilmed included the decapitation of Wesley Crusher
Oh my god.
and the electrocution of Data.
Jeez. Oh, another electrocution.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought you would enjoy that.
Decapitation.
Yeah, just clean cut.
They couldn't have even done that back then.
Yeah, they would have had to do like a weird cutaway to make that work. It's pretty good. The transition effect seen as the timeline changed in the beginning of the episode was unscripted and only added in post-production. Originally, the change was accomplished merely by a cut, but it was felt that this was too confusing. However, due to the late nature of the change, the post-production staff neglected to add a corresponding transition effect as the timeline was reset at the end of the episode. Let's see. According to art department illustrator Rick Sternbach, the fatal shrapnel embedded into Captain Garrett's head was a wing from a VF-1 Valkyrie model kit from the Japanese animated series, the Super Dimension Fortress Macross. This was not the first time this particular model kit provided services for a Star Trek production. The same kit in two different scales provided parts for the production of both the desktop model as well as the full-fledged filming model, studio model of the Constellation class.
I clocked that greebly like right away.
You were like, oh, cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's from the model kit. I know it. Know it well.
A computer display in the Star Trek Enterprise episode In a Mirror Darkly Part 2 established that the planet Archer 4 is a reference in this episode named for Jonathan Archer. And
Cool.
Archer and his crew surveyed this planet in the episode Strange New World, which is the one where they see rock people in the cave.
Nice.
So even though Next Generation obviously had no idea about any of this when they wrote it, it's just Archer 4, it doesn't matter. For us who have watched it in continuity, for some reason, Picard and crew are returning to that planet that has like psychedelic, issues on the planet. Maybe they're checking on it and seeing if a colony is living there or something. Who knows? They're returning to that planet. So
Yeah, that's cool.
pretty cool. To go along with them talking about Sweeps Week, it says the original airing of yesterday's Enterprise earned ratings of 13.1 million viewers, making it the third highest viewed episode of the series. So two other episodes beat it. Michael Pillar remarked, that was a classic episode. I never met Denise Crosby in person, but I am sure an admirer. She did a great job for us. That's just about as neat a show as we could do. It was as entertaining and unique a time travel show as you'll ever see. I don't know that there was a better episode in the third season. Heck, Picard sends 500 people back to their death on the word of the bartender. Come on, that's hard. I was very happy with it, and frankly, I give the credit to the director and the cast and the people who post-produced it. The script was not one of the best scripts we wrote that season. Conceptually, it was marvelous, coming out of the heads of some people here. There are little holes in the episode that we couldn't fix. It was such a complicated and fascinating premise, but it was ultimately the character material that really made everyone proud.
It's always interesting to me when you see like some writers like loved the episode and the other ones were like, yeah, it kind of sucked. Could have done better.
Yeah. Well, I think like with many things, right? Like you and I writing our own episodes for our RPG, everybody's like, man, that was a great episode. I loved that. It was so good. But in your own mind, you're like, yeah, but I could have made it better.
Mm-hmm.
You're always like
Yeah.
tearing your own product apart. This episode won an Emmy Award for Outstanding Sound Editing for a Series and was also nominated for Outstanding Sound Mixing for a Drama Series and Outstanding Achievement in Musical Composition for a Series by Dennis McCarthy. So they won an Emmy, which was cool. And then this last bit of trivia, it says, it was a nice little challenge to go back and work up the Enterprise C as a melding of Picard's Galaxy-class ship and the Excelsior, Rick Sternbach says. Andy Probert had previously done a sketch that was a blend of those two ships, and I fleshed out the design work, and Gene, I'll say, built the miniature. You could really see the evolution from C to D. Gene did more than build the miniature. He also had the task of altering the pristine model to make it look like it had been in a major battle at Narendra 3. To simulate the damage on the Enterprise C, we used a lot of leftover pyro that we had from the 4th of July. Gene confesses, like firecrackers and smoke pots. We actually scorched the surface of the ship rather than painting it on. And then I will send those things over to you.
I like how the ship has rubble when it explodes. It's like
It's
rocks.
it's really funny, dude. I don't disagree with you. So here is Andy Prober's sketch.
Cool. It's
So-
like a regular ship, but small.
Yep. So he writes here it's an ambassador class, and we see it's dated November of 1989 by
This is
Sternbach.
way too clean to be a sketch.
And then here's the model of it that they talked about. Yeah.
How big were these?
They usually are like 4 feet.
I could tell on a few shots when they show like the underside, you could see like these square raised panels all on the bottom.
Yeah.
I thought that was cool. You could tell like it's pretty big.
And then you'll get to see the thing that he was talking about in this picture.
That's pretty sweet. Oh, that's
So-
upside down.
It's upside down because that's how they film it. They film it so it looks like it's coming out, so it's going by, and they just turn the footage upside down.
That's interesting.
Yep. It's just an easier way to film it. But it's pretty crazy to think that this is all from like firecrackers and like fireworks and
Yeah, I didn't pick up on that's what you were saying. I thought he was talking about like the actual bridge exploding shots and stuff.
No. He was talking
So
about
they legitimately fireworks this model kit they built. That's insane.
they actually like probably lit stuff and then held it to the prop thing and like burned it and stuff. I mean, honestly, right? I mean, it looks
Yeah, it
real.
looks real. But that the underworking like mesh work
They probably
has
went in
to
and
be
like,
there.
yeah, painted a little bit too. Yeah.
Unless they used like, yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, it looks legit.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
I wonder where all these are now.
Some fans have, some museums have, and some were just destroyed
Sweet. Blow it up.
or lost to time, I guess they would say. Yeah, so we come back from trivia. We talked about it in trivia. They make mention of Archer 4, which was cool. And then Picard makes probably another super famous Picard line that they use is, "Let's make sure that history never forgets the name Enterprise."
Enterprise. Yeah.
Yep, they use that a lot in their promotional material. And then the battle with the Klingons begins, and that's kind of the end of the episode. Like basically, they fight with the Klingons. We see that the Enterprise D is about to enter a warp core breach.
Yeah.
2 minutes till that happens. They keep getting shot at and shot at and shot at. Riker dies. Picard, he leaps over the banister, takes control. He continues to fire weapons, and we assume he goes down with the ship because the Enterprise C re-enters the rift, and Worf is back up on the bridge. Tasha's gone.
They took their sweet time getting through that rift.
Yes, they did. Yes, they did.
It's like it reminds me of Dragon Ball Z. Every time when they're like, "Oh man, you know what? We should probably get there faster," and then they put the throttle like up in the ship, and it's like, why are you just not going top speed right off the bat? I don't understand
Can't
why you're not going top speed.
You can't go fast into a time rift. Everybody knows that.
That's true. Yeah, I can let it go in this a lot easier.
Yeah, and we kind of just like end. It's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
The really interesting kind of just hang up, like, hey, it was nice talking to you. Hang up the phone. Like, it was just kind of like, there's no nothing because they re-enter. Worf makes the comment, like, there was a ship, but then there wasn't a ship. And then Guinan calls to the bridge, is everything's all right? Picard's like, yeah, should it not be? No, I guess not. And we end with a nice scene with her and Geordi sitting at the table instead of Worf, which I thought was interesting, and says, "Tell me about Tasha Yar."
Yeah, it's a cool way to end it. Probably the best ending in a while.
I don't disagree. It's not a bad ending. It's so just like, who knows what happened? You just assume they die, you know?
Crisis averted. Moving on.
Yeah. It's
I like
very
that. I
interesting.
like that shot too. Like as soon as they go through the wormhole, Picard like turns around and it's Worf standing there.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's just cool.
Yeah. I would say it's very rare to at least not at least show like them coming through the other side and getting shot by like Romulans and stuff. Like you would at least thought they were at least gonna like zoom and like that, but nope,
Mm.
just like nothing ever happened. Like that was just a blip on sensors, and then that was it.
Yep.
And history fell back into place. Or did it? Well, that's what our review of the episode was. We appreciate you guys following along. But before we end the episode, let's do the thing that everyone's been waiting for. Caleb, who gets the Erica Ortegas Award for being the most unlikable?
I think Beverly this week.
Fair
Let's do
enough.
that. Yeah,
Yeah.
She sucks, and I don't like her.
Get her in the mix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and for the simple fact that like I enjoy seeing her in the episode, but like we talked about, she's still like babying people, like
Yeah.
in
She's
a
not-
war-torn environment where it's like, no, you heal people as fast as you can, and you get them back on the battlefield to die. Like that's your job.
Right, exactly.
You captains, you just can't stay in bed. It's like, no, that's not the universe we're in, Beverly.
Different
think
universe.
she's-
Different universe.
I think she's the same. I think her and Guinan are the only ones
Oh.
from the other timeline. Yeah,
That would
she
be-
didn't even
that's a
notice.
twist.
That's
What
how
a twist.
that's how
What a-
clueless of a doctor is. She didn't even notice. Everybody's wearing different uniforms today. I guess I don't know. Jeez.
Oh, whatever. Next is the Elizabeth Cutler Award for the most forgettable character of the episode.
Deanna.
Yeah, I don't disagree.
I legitimately didn't even realize that she wasn't there until you said that she wasn't in there.
Yeah, and it's also a return of all of our original cast too. This is the episode where all of the original cast is in the episode, which is cool. I did
Not
see
all at the same time, of course.
not all at the same time, no, but they all are in the episode. The interesting thing is that I read in trivia that it's speculated, and I think some like books or comics or something talk about that, like basically the Klingons like destroyed Betazoid. So that's why she's not in the episode.
No, it makes sense. Yeah,
I don't know
they
about that or
didn't
something.
feel it coming, so they all died.
Exactly. Next is the Mugatu Award for the best alien of the episode.
Oh, good one. I'm gonna give it to Guinan this week
Good.
because she's a cool alien, and I thought it was interesting that her species is able to sense rifts in time. Apparently,
Time riffs. Yeah.
I mean, she's been alive for hundreds and thousands of years or whatever, so
Yep. And she knows about the cues, apparently.
she knows the cues. She's fought the cues many times.
So, yeah.
Those Gorn things, she knows about those. And
Next-
Guinan knows all about it.
All about it. She is one.
She built it.
Next is the Trip Tucker Award for being the MVP of the episode.
I mean, Guinan did a lot to push Picard into going the correct path, but ultimately Picard's the one that did a 180 turn and saved the past and the future by forcing those people to fly back into their death.
Yep.
But ultimately, I think it's probably the crew of the Enterprise C. I think they're the...
Nice.
Because they kind of knew what they were going back to, and their ship was already destroyed. I think they knew it was a one-way trip to Valhalla, so I think I think I'll give it to them. Because she even says, like, yeah, a lot of these crew members know, like, this is it, but they still want to go because they don't want to flee the battle.
Nope. I like it.
Yeah.
Yeah. At the end of the day, even if Guinan tells Picard and Picard agrees, those people have to agree. So.
I just picture them all on the ship flying into the port, like, for the Republic!
Well, next is the Spock Award for the best line of the episode.
I really enjoy Worf saying Warriors drink. I think that's
Great. That's awesome, man. No. I love it. A warrior's drink.
I know, like, the episode's a little deeper than that, but that's really all I got.
No, I would say that is incredibly. Everybody knows that from the show. A warrior's. Everybody knows that Worf loves prune juice. You're not alone in feeling that. Everybody does. It's a huge Worf thing. If you literally talk to any of our Star Trek friends and you say, "What's Worf's favorite drink?" they're all going to tell you it's prune juice.
Prune juice. Well, that's funny.
And the only one that is might beat it by some people is the history one. Let's make sure that history never forgets the name Enterprise. Like that's like the other famous quote from.
Oh yeah.
But Warriors drink it is. I like it, and we like Worf, and he has good quotes.
He does.
And at the end of the day, this episode is like drinking prune juice, a Warriors drink. Next is the Shran Award for the best action sequence.
I like the end battle is pretty good.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I was expecting to see the Enterprise get blown up, if I'm being honest with you.
Yeah, I think the thing is when we think about it now, it could have happened. But I think back then that would mean that they would have had to created a Enterprise D ship to explode.
Yeah,
And
and
I
they
think they
didn't
were
think they
like,
do.
mm-mm.
That's true.
They
Yeah,
were
that's
like,
true.
that's too much money.
We already had to build a brand
Right,
new ship and shoot firecrackers at it. Like we're
right.
not blowing up.
We're not blowing this thing up either now, right? Exactly. But I
Yeah,
think now, because it was computer generated when they're remastering, so they could have easily blown it up. But it's a good sequence. It is fun at the end. And I was thinking of you when we were watching it that, like, hey, I didn't want to spoil it and, like, take you out of the moment, but I was thinking, hey, look, Kale's probably liking this because the ships are doing more than just like this.
yeah.
And then
They're actually
going,
maneuvering. They're
so,
actually turning.
next is the NX-01 award for some sweet ship stuff.
I'll give it to the Enterprise C, the model and all the
Yeah.
prop working stuff they did on it.
Yeah, it was really fun. It's always cool when they cut back and we have those like very traditional like movie TOS bridge panels where it's like that neon green and like those dark panels and everything and like everything's a lot more like basic and not as like fancy as next gen here on my back.
Yeah.
Where it's like all these like lacquer things are very fancy looking. The cool thing is now is back then in the 90s, to be a Star Trek nerd in the past, you were like, oh, wow, wow. And then now it's like you can just go and buy like the Enterprise C and just have a model of it like on your desk. Like
Yeah.
it's no big deal. But back then, when you were a fan of it, you were like, how do I get my hands on another Enterprise? So it's cool.
Well, we're also in the day and age now where it's like, oh yeah, I'll just print one.
I'll just
have.
print.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. Next is the Porthos Award for the cheesiest thing of the episode.
That's definitely the Richie Rich part. Yeah.
My mother.
My mom calls me Rich. I'd like you to call me that as well.
It just cut back.
It was weird.
It was very weird. Just cut back to Tasha going, no.
Yeah, I'm good.
I'm all set. I'll call you Costello.
I'm good.
I don't even know what else I would consider cheesy. That thing took the thing by a mile. That was awful.
It's just weirdly written. Like I
It's so
understand the
weird.
scene. I understand
Right.
what you're saying, but it's like you just say like,
Just say something
this
else.
is my name, and then it's like, but my close friends call me Rich, and it's like, okay.
It's like they missed the part of the thing where she's like calling him Lieutenant Castillo, and then Guinan or somebody else calls him Richard, and she's like, "Hey, Richard," and he's like, "Hey, only my mom calls me Richard. Call me, call me Rick, call me Rich, call me Dick, whatever. My mom calls me Richard. That's like, don't call me that. Only my mom does that." Instead, they're like, "Only my mom calls me Richard. Can you please do that too? Can you call me Richard? Like my mommy. I miss my mommy." It's weird.
Bye bye.
Bye bye. Richard loves mommy. Next and lastly is the Star Trek Enterprise Award for the best scene of the episode.
When Riker dies.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah, you're giving it to when the Enterprise D is getting shot and everybody's dying?
I do like that.
Okay.
I definitely like the captain getting a gear shaft right through her brain skull. That was pretty good, yeah.
It's the thing where it's kind of funny to me that like Tasha Yar gets a really like ho-hum nothing death, and then kind of Captain Garrett does. It's like you literally bring her back from almost dying so that she can just randomly die. Like she doesn't even die like at the hand of like trying to defend the other Enterprise from a Klingon attack. It's like they get jumped by a Klingon, just a random Klingon appears, shoots at their ship like 5 times, and then they're like, she's dead. It's like, well, why did you even bring her in the episode? I get it. It's because it's an Enterprise and you got the captain. Let's show the captain of the Enterprise. But it's like, I think you kind of like traded places. It's like, we'll make Tasha's death way more better and interesting, but we're going to just trade places. It's like a Final Destination. There must be one.
There must be blood sacrifice.
Right, exactly.
It is very funny because, Tasha's death is like very like, well, yeah, she's a woman. Doesn't really matter.
Right.
And they're like, well, let's make up for that. And then they do the same thing to a different woman actor in this episode.
Right.
So it's
Right.
like,
Okay.
I don't think you really understood. I don't think you learned anything.
Right.
You learned nothing.
And it's like, I mean, this is it. Like, we don't discounting the Section 31 movie. Like, we don't see Rachel Garrett again. So it's like, that's
Yeah.
it. She gets a model jammed into her forehead and she dies.
Yeah.
All
Female captains, am I right?
right. Is that the scene? You're gonna pick the scene of the Enterprise D getting bombarded?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, good stuff. Fun to see. Picard at tactical going down with the ship. The flames growing around the scene, the screen.
I like when he jumps over the council.
Yeah.
He just like kicks Breaker's body out of the way, and he's like, all right, now I'm at this panel.
As it was meant to be. I
Mhm.
also read in trivia, speaking to that, they purposely wrote in the episode that Picard calls him Commander to show that they're not friends by calling him number one.
Number one, yeah. He
Very
calls
good.
him number two.
Yep. At the bottom of my shoe.
Number two.
Well, that is what Caleb thought of the episode. We appreciate him going through that award ceremony. We know he loves it so much. But now it's your turn to write your own review of the episode and tell us what you thought of it. Did you like it? Did you love it? Did you want more of it? Or did you find that yesterday's Enterprise should have been a thing of the
today's
past?
Garbage.
Let us know down below.
Next time on Star Trek The Next Generation.
Next week's episode is, in fact, another episode of Season 3 of Star Trek The Next Generation, and that episode is entitled The Offspring. So we'll continue with that. For you folks who can't get enough of Caleb and I talking about Star Trek, we did a retrack on screen of yesterday's Enterprise, so you can watch our reaction while we're physically watching the episode. If you enjoy that type of content, hopefully YouTube doesn't butcher it too badly. I will always have to make it pretty terrible to watch, but you never know. Might be able to get through it.
Yeah, you can see it in its entirety.
On Patreon. Yeah, but with next week's episode of The Offspring, Caleb and I are going to do another special thing. Is him and I are going to get together in person, and I'm going to bring over a big old chunky TV, and I'm going to put in a VHS tape of The Offspring, and we're going to watch it like we used to watch it in the 90s.
It's going to be so cool.
So cool. So that'll be called Retro Retrack.
Retro Trek.
So you get to watch us watch another episode, but how everyone watched it like 35 years ago. So
as it was intended to be viewed.
Exactly. That'll be a fun episode for him and I to watch like that.
It will be.
Yeah.
I won't hate it.
Absolutely not. So that's what we have to look forward to next week. But as always, if you liked our review of this episode, like the video. If you disliked our review of this episode, dislike the video. Share it with all your friends and family and Trek enthusiasts. Subscribe so you don't miss a review.
Transfer
And
update
ring
is
that
complete.
bell so you can watch our review as soon as it hits the channel. And then you can always go over to Caleb's channel. Caleb has a separate channel where he is a prop tutorial channel where he makes props from pop culture and teaches you how to make them yourselves. There's a lot of fun things over there. There's Star Trek props over there that you can make yourself. He also 3D prints and paints, so if you enjoy that, something relaxing to put on in the background while he paints, that's always fun. And every single month on the 19th, Caleb and I talk about Dragon Ball Z, or the Dragon Ball franchise overall. So you can always go over there once a month and watch us talk about that if you enjoy that type of content. It's an inverse of what this is. I've never seen Dragon Ball Z, so you can yeah. So you can
I wonder
always
what
go
he's
there.
doing. You think he's building up an attack? No, I'll just stand here and wait. This possibly can't. This can't be. How strong could it be?
I was gonna say that's Dragon Ball. I was like, it's Yeah, so you can always go over there and check out any of his videos. And if you find a video that you enjoyed watching, make sure to like it, make sure to comment on it, make sure to leave a suggestion of something for him to make. That maybe a kind of like a commission kind of thing. You can put that out there. A suggestion of something else that you'd like Caleb and I to watch and comment on. That's always fun too. And ultimately, on whatever you decide, at least please subscribe.
I just printed out more Pokemon, and I got a cool build that may be out by now. Yeah. I did amazing things back then in January. January was my month.
We appreciate you guys doing all of the fun, excellent things down below. We're grateful for everybody out there following us along and enjoying our reviews. We thank Ed, Markstar, and Captain Olimar once again for their Patreon support. We can't thank those guys enough. Yeah, it's really nice to have a community with you guys out there as subscribers and them as patrons. And so, until the offspring next week, so Caleb, send us out.
All right, computer. Show me what happened to Worf in this timeline. I want to see him get blown. Mother, father!
See ya!